May I come in,
Come
sir?
in.
Good
Sit
morning,
down.
sir. Good morning,
Sit
sir.
down, Mr. Abhigyan.
Yes. Thank you, sir.
Abhigyan
Malviya.
Malviya.
Yes.
Okay. Introduce yourself, please.
Yes, sir. So my name is Abhigyan Malviya. I was born in Devgar district in Jharkhand. I did my schooling from Patna, Bihar. In 2014, I went for graduation in chemical engineering to IIT Guwahati. After spending 4 years, I decided to pursue a career in research, and for that I went to TU Berlin. There I worked as a research assistant for a couple of years.
In Berlin.
Yes, in
Okay.
TU Berlin.
Okay.
And then I returned in 2020 to pursue a career in civil service.
So you want Berlin to pursue what?
Research.
Research in what?
In chemical engineering, but specifically in ethanol simulations.
And then you are a chemical engineering IITian.
Yes, sir.
You pursued research in Frankfurt.
Yes.
And you don't want to pursue this career in
No, sir.
chemical engineering.
No, sir.
Why not?
Yes, sir.
You
So
wasted all this time and effort.
So first of all, I would say that my 2 years in Berlin was some of the most beautiful time of my life. I got to learn a lot of things and also got exposed to research. But when I was working over there, every day I used to think about the impact of my work. And sooner I realized that the direct impact of my work was not going to benefit
It took
my
you
people.
6 years to realize that.
No, sir. I did 4 years of bachelor's in IIT Guwahati, then
Yeah.
went to TU
So
Berlin.
to 4 plus 2.
But I started doing my research in 2018. So I went there and then in fact after graduation I wanted to see whether I want to.
So there are no career prospects in chemical engineering.
So there are career prospects in chemical.
Like what?
So there are many different prospects. For example, we can work in core industry sectors like Reliance in Jamnagar or Aarti Industries, etc.
Pharmaceuticals.
Pharmaceuticals, exactly. And
So you didn't want to join any of these areas. Nothing interested you.
No, sir. I did after graduation. I was more focused on academic prospects, so I went for research. But when I reached there, I realized that there was not much impact of my work, which made me
How
realize.
did you come to this conclusion that
Yes.
there is no impact? Pharmacists have no impact.
So I was not a
Developments.
pharmacist.
Sorry.
I was not a pharmacist.
Yeah, but then these are areas which could be open for you.
Yes, sir. So the work that I was doing specifically in Berlin, the impact of that work was
What
not.
was the specific work that you were doing?
So I was working as in development of molecular simulation techniques of ethanol. Ethanol is used as a fuel, which we are also using currently.
So that's not exciting.
Sorry, sir.
That's not exciting.
So it was indeed exciting, but I realized that the impact the work would create, that would benefit some multinational companies in Germany.
What kind of an impact are you looking for?
Yes, sir. So when we talk about civil service, it gives us a platform to create impact at the grassroots level, and at the same time it also provides for leadership opportunities at a young age.
Describe this. How have you reached this conclusion?
So for example, if I was working as a research assistant in Berlin.
Forget about research. You want to make an impact as a civil servant. How did you get the impression that there is no impact in chemical engineering and there's lots of impact to be made in
Yes,
the
sir.
civil service?
Yes, sir. Sir, if I stayed in chemical engineering, then the work would be very focused on a.
Talk about administration, civil service.
Yes, sir. So in civil service, we can create lots of impact ranging
You've
from.
been saying the same thing. How would you create impact?
Yes, sir. Sir, starts from the first posting as an SDM. We can manage the.
What is the job of an SDM?
Sir, to put it firmly, it would be he acts as the CEO of a district. So it has to look over the implementation of different policies, be it the
His
Swachhta
basic
Abhiyan.
job is law and order, maintaining law and order. He is a magistrate.
Yes,
Where is
sir.
the impact he is making as a magistrate?
So he
And
can.
that to an executive magistrate.
Yes, sir. So as an executive magistrate, he can bring justice to the people. When I look at my community.
What justice? There are riots and he is to maintain peace. He is
Yes.
simply to maintain peace.
Sir, I beg to differ from your opinion. I do not think it's just about maintaining peace. Maintaining peace is also a job that gives immense satisfaction.
What else does an executive magistrate do other than maintaining peace?
Yes, sir. He is also the main implementer of different policies of the government. His or her job is to ensure that there is no corruption, that the policies reach the grassroots level, that there is minimum government and maximum governance.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Now, Bihar.
Yes, sir.
Do you have a problem with prohibition in Bihar?
No, sir. I'm in support of prohibition.
Yeah. Because Bihar loses a lot of revenue.
Yes, sir. It loses approx 3,000.
And the policy is very poorly implemented.
Yes, sir. There have been major bottlenecks in the implementation of.
And there is a lot of spurious liquor.
Yes, sir. That is
a lot of deaths.
Yes, sir.
You're still in favor of it?
Yes, sir. I mean.
Why?
Yes, sir. Sir, because when the prohibition policy was brought, it was seen as something that is women pro, and for the first time, a government was focusing on keeping women at the forefront of policy making.
Has it helped the women?
Yes, sir.
In what way?
Yes, sir. Sir, today the perception has changed when the issues.
I'm not talking the perception, I'm talking
yes.
Hard facts. How has the position of women changed? Are there any studies? Is there any data to say that, well, domestic violence has come down, crime against women has come down? Is there any data that you can tell us?
So there was a survey done by our Bihar state government which highlighted that women were now feeling much more safer. It was giving them a feeling that...
That's again perception.
Sir, but it was based on the survey of the people, of the ground reality. Apart from that, there is also...
So it was a survey done by the state government. Obviously, they'll come to good conclusions. They would, a state survey would not conclude that prohibition is bad.
No, sir.
And it has done nothing.
So I do not agree with that. I think that surveys are done with an objectified approach, and we cannot just make such...
Okay.
Yes,
now, what is the state of Bihar's finances? Revenues, I'm asking. What is the revenue of Bihar? How much revenue does it have?
So the entire budget is of around 2 lakh crores.
Revenue, how much is the revenue?
So I think it is around 98,000 crore, and
what
it
is
receives...
the gap? What is the gap?
So fiscal deficit?
The revenue gap.
I'm not sure about the exact value, sir.
Okay. And welfare schemes? What is the budget allocation for welfare schemes?
Yes, sir. When we talk about welfare schemes for education, it has given close to 14% of the entire budget, which amounts to 28,000 crore. For health sector, it has given 10,000 crore. Apart from that, it has been running the Sat Nischay scheme and the Sat Nischay 2 also.
So there is no problem of revenues, finances for the state. It's a healthy state in terms of finances.
So it has a fiscal deficit of 3 to 4%. Apart from that, most of its revenue also comes from center grants and financial commission grants.
What is the spend on infrastructure?
Sorry, sir, I'm not able to recall the exact value.
And what is the capital investment that the government makes?
So capital investment is around 10,000 crore.
Is that enough for a state of Bihar, the size of Bihar? Why I'm asking you all these questions,
yes, sir,
Abhigyan, is to drive home the fact that without prohibition, the state can generate thousands of crores of revenue. And that can be distributed in various areas, welfare areas, investment, infrastructure. Bihar suffers from backwardness, you know that.
So, but the status of Bihar is changing, and coming to the prohibition part, it is adding almost 3,000 or 4,000 crore. Compared to the entire value, it is not generating too much of a revenue. And secondly, it is about creating social impact. 3,000 crore may be a lot of sum, but if the husbands are coming to home and there is cases of child abuse or women abuse, then I don't think the state is going to progress with all these issues going on.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Now, you were part of a planning committee?
Yes, sir.
Part of a planning committee?
Yes, sir. Departmental undergraduate planning.
Yeah, so what were you planning?
Yes, sir. So, as a member of DUPC, my job was to act as a bridge between the DUPC committee and the students. Our main focus,
What is DUPC?
so Department Undergraduate Planning Committee.
Okay, and
So, its main focus is to plan for different aspects of the syllabus, the curriculum, and also to look into different workings of the electives or the BTP thesis.
basically curriculum related.
Yes, sir.
Now, supposing you are a district magistrate
Yes, sir.
in Patna, you are from Patna,
Yes, sir.
and you have to conduct elections.
Yes, sir.
How would you plan the conduct of elections? Step by step.
Yes, sir. So my first step will be to identify the resources that we have. Second step will be to focus on areas in
The
which.
state will give you resources. For elections, you don't have to worry about resources.
Okay.
Adequate resources will be made available.
Okay. Sir.
So,
Yes, sir. So my second step will be to channelize those resources and see what are the main areas we have to focus. For example, in an election, there could be incidences of high robbery or high election rigging in some of the areas.
Mr. Abhigyan, you
Yes,
are the returning officer.
Yes, sir.
The election date has been announced,
Okay, sir.
and you are the returning officer. So, what will you do first? You will not talk about crime.
Yes, sir.
You have to conduct elections.
Yes, sir. So my first job will be to ensure that it is the place where people are coming to vote, that is well kept and there is safety and security.
What is this place called?
So the polling station.
So you will first identify polling stations,
Yes, sir.
isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Then what?
So once I ensure that there is safety and security, there must be a presiding officer in that polling station. Secondly, I'll ensure that people are having ease of
Is there
access.
only presiding officer in a polling station?
Sorry, sir.
Is there only a presiding officer in a polling station?
So I'm not sure about how many people are there.
What will you do with the candidates who will be standing up for elections? What is your role there?
Sorry, sir.
Did you vote any time?
No, sir. So there is
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, Mr. Abhigyan,
Yes, sir.
define mathematics in one sentence.
The mathematics is the language in which God created the universe.
That is, this definition is valid only if God exists, and you are assuming that.
So in mathematics, we do not assume the existence of God, we assume the existence of a higher authority or higher power, which has kept everything in place, from which everything has started.
Okay.
Yes.
And who is considered the father of mathematics?
So Archimedes is considered in some texts, and sometimes we say it is Aristotle.
How come Aristotle has done any contribution to mathematics?
Sorry, sir, I'm not aware of his contributions, but
Then it doesn't matter.
yes, sir.
And why Archimedes?
Yes, sir. So Archimedes is famous for the Eureka moment when he gave the theory of water displacement of bodies. Apart from that, in mathematics, he has made some contribution to geometry and trigonometry as well.
What is the contribution?
So I'm not aware of the specifics, but these are basic contribution on which entire thing was built. So it must have been the sine and cosine rules.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Give your opinion on the collegium system, which is at present selection of judges for High Court and Supreme Court is made. There is a collegium system.
Yes.
Give your opinion on that, whether it is a good, should continue, whether there is a need for reforms. You speak for some time on this.
Yes, sir. So the current system consists of judges from judges and the Chief Justice of India, and the entire system has been said to be quite opaque. Personally, I do believe that the system is opaque and it maintains the Uncle Judge syndrome. But I think that a lot of changes can be brought in. However, there have been difficulties because the judiciary don't want to give in.
Can be brought in means what? You suggest if any change is there, what is your opinion? I am asking opinion,
Yes,
not asking essay on collegium
sir.
system.
Yes, sir. So in the collegium system, first of all, the collegium must be expanded. It should include members from at least the Bar Council. If the judiciary agrees that the executive can also be a member of it, then that should also be carried out. Secondly, I think even if the collegium is not expanded, at least the process should be more transparent. There should be some objective criteria as to why different judges were selected and why some of them were not.
So transparency.
Yes, sir.
Good. What are the isomers in chemistry? You are a student of chemistry, chemical engineering.
Yes, sir.
What are isomers?
So isomers exist in different compounds which have double bonds. So there is a cis isomer or trans isomer. Basically, they are the same compound, but which, because of the position of the relative molecules, they exist different properties.
Same compound means?
So, for example, we have alkyne. So there is a cis alkyne and a trans alkyne. So they will have different properties even though they are manufactured the same way.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
And isotope?
Yes, sir. So isotope, on the other hand, is a element which has different mass numbers. For example, uranium has two isotopes, uranium 235 and 238, whereas the 238 one is stable, 235 is radioactive.
And what is the difference between atomic bomb and hydrogen bomb?
Yes, sir. So atomic bomb works on the principle of nuclear fission. It involves the breakdown of plutonium specifically or uranium and the release of tremendous amount of energy. Hydrogen bombs, on the other hand, work on the principle of fusion reactions.
Where does this energy comes from? In the atom bomb or hydrogen bomb, both are highly energetic.
Yes,
they
sir.
release a lot of energy.
So the basic premise has been given by Einstein in his famous equation E equal to mc square. So in these reactions, the mass is broken and it converts to energy. And because the multiplying factor is c square, which is almost 10 to the power 12.
How mass can be broken?
So in physics, they have a theory where they state that mass is nothing but a form of energy. So when energy condenses together, it forms mass. So we are using the principle of breaking down this mass back to its energy.
So in day-to-day life, we can break mass, small mass we can break and get tremendous energy, and then why we are not doing that?
Yes, sir. We are trying to do that through the nuclear fusion reactor program, like the tokamak reactors. But there are many difficulties. First of all, the pressure required is very high. It requires close to millions of bars of pressure, and the temperature is also close to 100 million Kelvin. So these are not possible in our
Presently, some experiments have been done
Yes,
in
sir.
that regard.
Yes, sir.
Was there any positive outcome?
Yes, sir. We have the ITER project going on, which focuses on creating nuclear fusion reactors. In UK, they said that they were able to generate energy for 10 seconds, which was equivalent to almost 10 megawatt. And in China also, they have been able to produce energy. But still, it is not sustainable, and India's job is to create the cryomagnets, which will make it more stable.
With cryomagnets?
Yes, sir.
What will be their role?
Yes, sir. Sir, in nuclear fusion reaction, the main plasma that is created, that is as hot as the sun, even hotter than that. So we cannot have an equipment to hold it because everything will melt. So the main technique is to use electromagnetic field. These magnets will keep them keep the plasma floating in air. So as per the ITER program, India has been allocated this role of creating those cryomagnets.
Good. And what is hydrogen fuel cell?
Yes, sir. So hydrogen fuel cell are fuel cells which use hydrogen and oxygen, and hydrogen is oxidized to create water and energy. Fuel cell works on the same principles as any electrochemical cell, but it consists of running fuel. Like we have to keep supplying hydrogen, whereas in a battery cell we have components.
What is the component? What are the components of the fuel cell? Hydrogen fuel cell?
So just hydrogen and
What is
oxygen and an electrolyzer kind of thing.
electrolyte, and there are electrodes also?
No, sir. I don't think in fuel cell we have electrodes.
No, they say that on anode the hydrogen will be ionized.
Yes, sir. Sir, I think it's at no, sir. I'm not aware of the.
You are not aware.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you,
Over
sir.
to you, sir.
Mr. Abhigyan Malviya,
Yes, sir.
do you read the newspapers on a daily basis?
I read it sometimes. Not-
Sometimes.
Yes.
Did you read today?
No, sir. I haven't.
And why is that? Isn't it important to follow the news, to read the newspapers? see television news bulletins? Did you see any bulletins today, television news?
So not today exactly.
Why is it that you don't follow the news?
So there are different sources of information these days.
How do you get the news today?
So we are living in digital era, so
I
there
know,
are
but tell
different
me
social
how
media.
did you? Yeah, I see the news on my phone.
Yes, sir.
And did you follow the news today?
Not today, sir.
But
exactly.
why? Isn't it important for a civil service aspirant to follow the news?
Yes, sir. So my habit is to look at newspapers at night.
Your habit is to look at.
Not at newspaper, but social media sites which contain, like for example, I follow.
So you can't tell me 3 important news items today.
So
You don't. How if you have not followed? It's not on social media. So you draw a blank there.
So many times the same news going on for entire week. So I can give you
For what? Same news?
that is going on for the entire week. For example, we have the issue of Doklam crisis going on in Bhutan, or the issue of Trump being arrested. So most of these issues must also be there today.
So, but you don't follow the updates. Like for instance, the Trump issue. There are updates on a daily basis.
Yes, sir.
Like what has happened yesterday? What happened in regard to Donald Trump?
Yes, sir. So finally, he was arrested on charges of shifting election money and using it as hush money for his personal benefits.
So this happened yesterday.
So I read about it yesterday. So the actual arrest happened, I think, yesterday.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Where?
Sorry, sir, I'm not.
You didn't know where.
So I read it, but there are so many US names I confuse.
Okay, now Abhigyan, you studied in Germany
Yes, sir.
and you were in Berlin
Yes,
and
sir.
the other university,
Paderborn.
where is that?
That is in Paderborn. That is in northwest Rhine-Pfalz, the west side of Germany.
All right. Now, the German Chancellor
Yes,
visited India
yes, sir. February.
towards the end of February, 24, 25. What's his name?
Olaf Scholz.
Okay. And what were the main topics of discussion covered by him and Prime Minister Modi? The broad areas. Not on social media.
Yes, sir. Sir, I think one of the broad areas is that we are going to buy submarines from Germany.
Defense.
Yes, sir. And another thing is Germany is trying to increase its footprints in Indo-Pacific. Unlike UK and France, it has been left behind. So as per that, it is also going for some economic ties.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So, but what was discussed in terms of the areas of cooperation?
No, sir.
Do you think clean energy was discussed?
Not sure, sir.
Climate change?
Climate change must have been discussed.
Must have been discussed.
Yes, sir.
You're not sure?
No, sir.
You're
I'm
thinking
not.
if you were there, you would put it on the agenda.
Yes, sir. Because it's an important issue.
All right. What was Olaf Scholz before he became the Chancellor of Germany?
No, sir.
You don't know?
No, sir.
He was the Vice Chancellor, Deputy. But he had visited India once before. And Prime Minister Modi, when he welcomed him and he spoke, he gave an elaborate statement, he referred to that visit. Can you tell me something about it? When? Okay, it was in 2012. What was Olaf Scholz at that time?
Must have been Vice Chancellor?
No, not in 2012.
Okay, sir. No, sir. I'm not aware of anything in this.
He was the mayor of a city. Which city? You know, you studied in Germany. How long were you there?
So for 2 years.
2 years.
Yes.
These questions pertaining
Yes.
to Germany bound to arise.
Yes, sir.
Now, Germany was on the losing side in both world wars.
Yes, sir.
Who, or rather, which countries were Germany's allies in the First World War? The main allies.
In the First World War.
Yes.
So in the First World War, Germany was allies with Austria and Hungary.
It was one. Austro-Hungary.
Austro-Hungary.
The Austro-Hungarian Empire was one ally.
Yes,
Another one.
No, sir.
You don't know? What about the Ottoman Empire?
Yes, sir.
Was it allied with Germany?
Yes,
or
sir.
not?
It was allied with Germany, and after losing, Britain actually captures and gets hold of the Suez Canal also.
Now, can you tell me some countries which emerged out of the Ottoman Empire after it was defeated in the First World War? Some of the countries
So
which...
Turkey,
Pardon?
Turkey,
Okay. Turkey, of course,
Egypt.
was the heartland. It was... but some countries which got liberated as a result became independent countries.
so apart from that, Egypt and Syria.
Are you sure Egypt was part of the Ottoman Empire?
No, sir. I'm not sure.
Then why are you saying that?
Yes, sir.
Tell me some others. Egypt was not in the
So
Ottoman Empire.
Syria, Lebanon.
Are you guessing or you're telling
I'm just guessing. I'm not sure.
Abhigyan is very dangerous.
Yes.
Well, Syria and Iraq were, but these are... It's better to speak with conviction.
Yes, sir.
Okay, now, in the Second World War,
Yes, sir.
because you stayed in Berlin,
Yes, sir.
which countries were on the side of Germany? What
sir.
were the Axis powers?
So Germany, Italy, and Russia. But Russia switches sides in 1942, and then it after Germany attacks Russia also.
Then there was one other major ally of Germany referred to as...
Japan.
Why did it take so much time?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now Germany and Japan are members of some organizations along with India today. One is, of course, the United Nations. Can you name some other organizations
So-
where India and Germany, Japan work together and members of that small intergovernmental grouping?
So we have G20 and G4 also.
Correct. Now G4. What is a G4?
So G4 consists of Germany, India, Brazil, and Japan.
When
and
was it set up?
Not sure, sir.
Okay. And what does it want to do?
So it wants to bring reforms to the P5 or the UN Security Council and increase the membership from 5.
The UN Security Council is one of the principal organs of the UN.
Yes, sir.
Which are the others?
So we have the UNESCO. Sorry, sir. There is the International Court of Justice (ICJ), and we have the United Nations General Assembly, and so there is economic and political organization.
Economic.
I know. Okay, sir. I'm not able to remember the name.
So you just floundered here and there. I asked you to tell me which are the principal organs of the United Nations. I expect you to say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Yes, sir.
There are 6. Security Council is one of them. But which are the others?
So there is United Nations General.
You know,
Assembly.
you are a civil service aspirant and you put foreign service as your second option.
Yes.
These are basic questions.
Yes, sir.
So, okay, General Assembly, Security Council, ICJ. Then
UNESCO is one, but
now this is a howler that will have you lose marks. UNESCO is an agency, an independent agency, principal organs. We'll talk about it. My last question to you. If you were in the foreign service, you would be posted abroad.
yes, sir.
What is the difference between a high commission and an embassy?
So an embassy is one which has the ambassador placed in it, whereas in High Commission it consists of consulate generals, and there is more degree of immunity provided in an embassy compared to a consulate.
And then it never said consulate. Different.
Yes, sir.
High commission and an embassy.
Yes, sir.
What is the difference between a high commission and an embassy?
So this is the basic thing that I know. I don't know.
Abhigyan. Completely wrong. Thank you.
Okay, sir. Sorry, sir.
Mr. Abhigyan,
Yes, sir.
you like to play tennis
Yes, sir.
and watch tennis. So you tell me, India has been pretty successful as far as badminton is concerned.
Yes, sir.
Why we don't have similar kinds of results in tennis?
Yes, sir. So I think there are two specific reasons. First of all, in badminton, we had the coaching experience of Pulela Gopichand sir, who was able to produce lots of sports person, and that created a national interest in the game and led to a virtuous cycle of more money, more funding, more business, and it led to the proliferation of the game. And secondly, another issue could be that in badminton, we have had many types of premier leagues also, which has led to increasing its percolation in the rural areas where natural talents or the rural talent are emerging. So it has led to more spectators and viewership, whereas in tennis, that kind of thing has not happened.
Wow. And you're also, living in Bihar. Recently, there were some riots in Bihar.
Yes.
You know where was it?
No, sir, I'm not.
Some riots in Bihar, no? You're not aware of it?
No, sir.
Some riots in Bihar Sharif, no?
So
No.
there were communal clashes. That's
Huh,
why I
huh.
remember.
So you're not aware of it. Okay. Now, India and Nepal,
Yes, sir.
they have common border.
Yes, sir.
Can you tell me some districts which have common border with Nepal?
So we have Madhubani, East Champaran, West Champaran, Kishanganj. So these are some of the districts.
Okay. And some recent developments that have taken place in Nepal. Can you tell us something on that? Some changes, some new political developments?
Sorry, sir.
You know the Prime Minister of Nepal?
No, sir.
You don't know. All right. Now,
But you're in the digital age.
So I
And
think-
how can you not know when it's all over in the digital media?
yes, sir.
you talked something on Doklam.
Yes, sir.
So, tell me, what is the Doklam problem?
Yes, sir. So Doklam is a tri-junction between India, China, and Bhutan. And the problem was that China was being belligerent in that area and trying to increase its presence. So Bhutan, being our friendly neighborhood, we acted as a big brother and helped to solve the situation in 2017.
Okay. So,
Big brother.
so we acted as big brother. ठीक है. Now you tell me one thing. Again, the Doklam issue in the last few days is in the news.
Yes, sir.
Can you tell me why?
So because Bhutan has made the statement that it wants to solve the issue with China alone, but we have taken some steps, like the king of Bhutan, Wangchuk, has visited our country recently.
So, what is the problem? What is the controversy about if it's saying it wants to solve the problem with China? What is the issue? Do you see some problem?
Sir, it definitely has issues with respect to our own neighborhood because we are aware of China's aggressionist policies and its string of pearl diplomacy, or the Belt Road Initiative, where it wants to become a superpower and its singular hegemony. So to counter that, it becomes imperative that we as India have some stronghold in our neighborhood.
Okay. So, you said it's tri-junction.
Yes.
What is the meaning of tri-junction?
So a place where three nations meet.
And which are the three nations?
So India, China, Bhutan.
So, if the three of them get together to solve that problem,
Yes, sir.
what is the problem? That's okay.
Yes, problem should be solved by all this.
Okay, last question.
Yes, sir.
NATO is in the news,
Yes,
North
sir.
Atlantic Treaty Organization. Why is it in the news?
Yes, sir. Sir, the NATO is in news because Finland has joined NATO after the recent Ukraine-Russia war. For long, Turkey had been against that, but it has finally yielded because Finland has said that it will stop kind of anti-Muslim.
And why has Finland joined this?
Yes, sir. So because it has felt a threat from Russia, because Russia has been posting its nuclear weapons in nearby areas. It has also said that it will have its nuclear warheads in Belarus as well.
Right.
So, and it goes without saying that the entire war is about Russia's threat with respect to NATO's expansion.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Abhigyan, your interview with us is over.
Yes, sir.
Kindly wait for some time.
Yes.
We'll call you for feedback.
Thank you, sir.